My fellow traders, hope everybody's having a good weekend. You're resting, relaxing, recharging those batteries, getting ready to go after it next week. Start this month off on the right foot. All right, just want to remind everybody we have the AJT Morning Show. Monday through Friday, 8:30 to 9. All you have to do is go to my website, averagejoetrader.com. Click on the button, and it will take you there. I do stream live on YouTube as well, so you can check it out there. You can subscribe to my YouTube channel, and it'll let you know when I go live. But the easiest thing to do is go to my website and just click on it, and it'll take you right there. On Wednesdays, we have Sneak Peek Wednesday, which is our version of Free Chat Day. That's where you can come in, spend some time in the morning with us, get to know us, get to see what we're like, what the chat room is about. And I'm there streaming my platform live all day, providing I don't hit my max loss. Once I do that, it shuts down. That's the rule. And I try to practice what I preach. And if I tell you if you hit your max loss, it's time to shut down, then I try to do the same thing. And yeah, Friday I broke my rule, but I just couldn't let Friday end that way. But for the most part, I'm doing the right thing. But it's definitely entertaining, if nothing else. You can see here our services. I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time talking about them, but you can go to averagejoetrader.com and look under services. It talks about all the services that we offer. The chat room, that's where it's at. So come check us out on Wednesdays if you're not a member, and hopefully you'll decide to join us. I have 2 day trading classes going on now, and both of them excited. The traders in there, I think from what they've told me, they're really getting a lot out of it. So if you missed it this time, you can still catch the one on Tuesday. But if not, you can wait till the next one. It'll probably be another month and a half or so before we get to roll out the next class. All right, we talked about this a little bit earlier this month, or either the end of last month. Or no, it was earlier in this month. My daughter wanted to get into trading, so I'm taking her through the process. We had her do an application a couple weeks ago, and I'm telling you, that process, I know I've heard some people complain about it, but it's no different than if you go in to apply for a mortgage or, some other type significant loan. It was pretty simple. It only took us about 15 to 20 minutes. And, everything was uploaded electronically. So it was just a great experience. The only thing we had to do, and the only thing that took it 2 weeks, was all she had to do was give a statement as to where she was going to get the money from to fund her account, being that she was just a student. And once we did that, we got within 15 minutes of sending that letter, she got the email saying she was approved. And she started trading. This isn't what I wanted to do. We were trying to follow the process. And the process was, once you got your account open, start trading live with small share sizes so you can develop this skill. We were waiting until May 1st to get Suretrader Pro, so she didn't have to pay, the whole $124 for like 1 day or 2 days. And that didn't make any sense. But she had the trade, and you can see this isn't small share size. You know, she decided she wanted to, hone her, sow her royal oats on her own, but came up with $302 profit, and which is more than I actually profited on Friday. But when you look at, But when you look at the entries, there's no rhyme or reason to it. It's just sporadic. And, and that brought me to talk about the P&L, because a lot of people associate that P&L with success. It's like if I'm green, I'm successful. I've had a successful day. But that's not what it is. The P&L just shows you how much money you made. It doesn't show you how you made the money. You could have made it on pure luck. That's not skill. How you analyze how well you traded that day is when you go back and you reflect on your trades and determine, did you build a viable trade plan? Did you follow it? Did you execute it well? That's how you determine whether you have developed skill or whether you're a skillful trader or not. Just looking at the P&L doesn't tell you anything, because, let's face it, when you get in, you have a 50-50 chance of the stock going your way, because it's either going to go up or down. So if it goes up and you're long, hey, you're great. You're going to make money. But if you don't know why you took it long, and you don't have a plan for where a stop, or you don't have profit targets, and you just got in and got out, you bought low and sold high, and you made money, that doesn't mean you're skilled. And you really need to think about that. What determines whether you're a skilled trader or not is when you go back and analyze your trades to determine whether you had the right entry, whether you had a good, solid trade plan, and whether you executed that plan. That's what's going to determine, how good you are. So, can't brag. Wish I could brag on this, but I can't. It's just one of those 50-50 deals. All right, so I started out April focusing on trading 2 to 500 share positions. Well, in the last week, I've kind of snuck up and done a couple of 1,000 share positions. That can't happen. I'm going out of the restriction zone that I set for myself. Even though I'm comfortable trading 1,000 or 1,500 shares, that's not what I'm demonstrating, and that's not the restrictions that I set for myself. So I need to follow the guidelines and just stick to the amount of shares. Now next month, I may bump it up a little bit. We may go, from 3 to 7 or 3 to 750, something like that. But the key is I need to calm down and slow my roll. And I think that's what's going to help me get back in my groove, because I started looking at this monetary goal at the end of the month. And like I told you, when you start looking at money, that's when things get kind of out of whack. That's when you start not trading well and doing things that don't really make sense. I'm trying to focus on my focus while I'm in a trade. That's been kind of going off. Sticking to my stops, obviously, I still have a problem with that as of this week and Friday. Focus on my patience, which is good. I'm trying to go from good to great. I'm trying to have great patience. And I just want to continue to grow my account. I wanted to have 5K by the end of April. And those are my goals going in. Now here's, my month by month progress. This is the first quarter. January, remember we started with 1,500 shares? $1,500. And I ended up making $1,500. So I doubled my account size. That was great. Then in February, we doubled that, 38.45. So I'm like, hey man, I should be able to double. I'm going to double my position size in March. So I should be able to double my profits. But no, didn't work out that way. Had some bad weeks in March. March, and didn't get to double it. Only got a couple $100 more. So that brought me into April. So first, let's look at my weekly stats. Not good at all. I wish I didn't have to show this. This is kind of embarrassing, but it is what it is. 444.35 is what I ended up with. One massive loss. And for me, $442 is massive. It's massive. The $220 loss was bad. This is just massive for me. So that really hurt everything about my week. My percent profitability was 52 overall, 60 long, 50 short. Just a terrible week. Absolutely terrible. But I came out green, and that meant I had enough in the tank to really bring this out and bring this kind of out of the hole. And you can see this is pretty ugly here. My Profitly graph, I think I've got more red trades than I do green. Alright, so my monthly stats. We did meet my monthly goal. Got 53, 37, 56. But I just wired out $5,000 on Friday. So we can start off again on the right foot. And you can see for the month, 65% profitability, 75 long, 63 short. Still having a problem with my average winning trade, average losing trade. The ratio is still about 1-to-1. It's too close to 1-to-1 for me to be comfortable with it, but I'm gonna have to keep working on that. So not a bad month overall. I did end up green. I did make the $5,000 that I wanted to make. So should not be too sad about that. Now, time for a head fake. Time for that elephant in the room. When I pulled this money out, it made me think of something. It reminded me of back in February 2015 or 2014, not February, December of 2014, when I took the $4,800 out of my account, left $5 in it. I didn't pay the taxes on it. I didn't really think about it. Had no intentions of paying taxes on it. But eventually the next year they caught up with me and said, hey, look, you overlooked this. So, hey, you need to come in and handle this. So I don't want any, didn't want any audits. So I just paid what they said I owed and moved on. So this kind of made me think about something. So in a minute, we're going to address the elephant in the room. This is something that is real important that you guys need to think about. And I'm surprised that it took this for me to really think about this. And here it is. Here's that word that we don't like to mention sometimes. And it's budget. Okay? I completely forgot about the fact that when you start pulling money out, when you start making money, you need to start paying your expenses. The worst thing you can do is continue to pay your expenses out of your pocket. Once you start making money, this needs to sustain itself. And if it doesn't, it's going to continue to suck you dry. The other thing is, when you make money and you pull it out, that's not a license to go out and spend every dime you make. Because like I said, Uncle Sam, well, in our case, in the United States, Uncle Sam came looking for his piece. And I wasn't going to deny him. So we want to start looking at this. And so that's where this is coming from. This is my budget. Now, some of you may have a little more. Some of you may have a little less. But for me, this is what it takes for me to manage my business. This isn't a whole lot of expense. It's not. It doesn't take much to run this. You know, once you get your equipment, get everything that's in place, it doesn't take much to run it. So, out of the $5,000 I pulled out, I had to say, okay, my trading platform, $124. My scanning, $85. My internet, I have high-speed dedicated internet, and that's all I use it for, is my trading, so that's written off 100%. Security software, I got to keep my stuff protected. That's about $9 a month. So say if you are a yearly subscriber in chat, that's about, what, $33 a month or so? You know, you have to add all of this up because, you know, you're running a business. And if you don't run it as a business, if you don't approach it that way, it's going to be hard for you to maintain a certain level of success. And really, it's going to be difficult for you to work your way out of your job, which is what a lot of people are looking to do. So the total of my expenses was $307. That's about 1%. It's not quite 1%, but it's close enough for me to say this is 1% of my total gains. All right, income tax. Now, I take 30% out. I used to take 40, but I take 30. And no, I don't pay 30% in taxes. But I like to get a tax refund at the end of the year, you know, when tax time comes. If you're a business owner, very doubtful you'll ever get a tax refund unless you just grossly overpay. And nobody's going to take money out of, you know, that much money out of their receipts and give it to the IRS and hoping that they get it back. So what I do is I have a tax account and I take 30% of all of the money I take out of my account and put it in a tax account. Anytime you pull money out of your account, you better make sure you pay the tax man. Put it in that account. Because that'll keep you from being in trouble and having to come up with some extra money come tax time. Now, I'm not a tax professional and I don't do my own taxes. But I can tell you that this system works for me. You know, I have a professional that does my taxes and, you know, he's like, that's probably the best idea I've ever heard. You know, so when he finishes my taxes, he tells me what my bill is. I go to the bank, I get a cashier's check for whatever that amount is, and then I empty everything out except for $50 and get another cashier's check for the rest. Okay, one goes to the government and one is my tax refund check. I mean, that's, it may sound silly, but that's just the way I do it. And then I have that extra money to do whatever I want to do with. The good thing is I don't have to claim that next year as a tax refund because I've already paid tax on that money. It's just my money. So that's like my bonus, so to speak. And I put 10% in savings. And this is a business savings. Why do I do that? It's in case equipment fails. If you have a computer, the hard drive goes out. It may not go out on its own. It may have been helped by you, which has happened to me several times. It may be that you may have a monitor to go out. That's happened to me. It may be that you have your router go out. That's happened to me before. So these are expenses. My router is $369. That's a big chunk of change if you're pulling it out of your pocket. $150 for a modem. A monitor. $1,500 for a computer. That's not something that you're just gonna want to pull out. If you got it like that, that's fine. But if you don't, let your business pay for its own expenses. It's going to be a cash cow, and you're never going to get to where you want to be. So, really, you want to establish a budget when you start pulling money out. And if you want to pay yourself some of this, if you want to say you want to pay yourself X amount, then you do that. Okay? So just make sure that you have your budget, you have it set, and you stick to it. But most business owners do not pull money out and do not pay themselves until, after their business is on its feet and sustaining itself. So for me, I'm not going to pay myself until I get to the point where I have enough money in my trading account and I'm actually bringing in enough money to sustain myself for every month. The main goal is to make this business sustainable so that it can stand on its own 2 feet. And that's what I'm working on. That's my focus, is to get it standing on its own 2 feet. And so, this is how I kind of go about doing it and making sure that I understand all of the elements that go into it. And this is how I was able to work myself out of my job. Had I not done it this way, I'd probably still be working there and trying to trade. But my recommendation, get a tax professional. Don't try to do this on your own. I can't recommend anything else but to go and see a tax professional and tell them what you want to do and let them guide you. And do whatever they tell you to do. Because if the IRS comes for you, you turn it all over to them. You don't want to worry about this or that. You want to have somebody, in your corner that's going to be able to handle this stuff. All right, so that's it for me this week. I don't mean to scare anybody. I just want to kind of let you know you need to start thinking about this stuff. When you start becoming profitable, that brings another element to this. And you want to be prepared for it. All right, so if you have any questions, here's my contact information. But the best way to get me, the easiest way to get me is ed@averagejoetrader.com. That's going to be the quickest way to get in touch with me. That I monitor that email practically 24/7. I mean, when I wake up in the middle of the night, I look at my phone, and if I have emails, I answer them. That's the only one that I really look at. So all the time. So enjoy the rest of your weekend. Remember, we're trying to develop a skill. We're trying to develop the skill of trading. Because if we develop this skill, then at the end of the day, we'll be counting some bills. So everybody take care, enjoy your weekend, and we will see you bright and early Monday morning.